Okay, we are going to start playing the Stepford Wives, the full version of it. This is the beginning of the Stepford Wives. This is Kate Moss playing Joanna, a woman who basically is going to be going to Stepford, Connecticut, and her husband got a new job. Well, actually, he's got a lawyer job, so basically he's going to Stepford, Connecticut for that job that he received. His wife is sitting there trying to concentrate and meditate and figure out why they're going, for what reason, and we'll find out why when we see her walking out of the apartment. Oh, and did you see the little dog? The dog is basically, she missed it. She wasn't there, basically. There's the doorman. And yes, New York has doormans, except it depends if you're very wealthy. Doorman. And this is 1975, the year of the making of the movie. The book was presented itself, and in the book, Joanna has 2 kids, but one's a boy, and the other one's a girl. So basically, we have 2 girls in this one. Joanna is now taking pictures. She's a photographer, basically. A non-professional photographer, but she's taking pictures of a mannequin with its eyes bounded. You figure what that means at more of the end of the movie when you see it. Mr. Walter, her husband, brings the dog and found him up there by himself. He tells her that the dog was up there by himself, and she said that she thought she checked everything.
I'm sorry, I thought I checked everything.
Only not realizing that the dog was in the apartment still.
That's why we're moving to Stepford.
Basically, he says that he's moving to Stepford because of New York is a bad influence for his family. So we see them generally leaving. We see the moving truck taking their stuff to Stepford, and we see them going straight.
But also, spoiler alert, if you guys haven't seen the movie first, you might want to check it out on YouTube. Type in Stepford Wives, and then check that one out. Then come to the review and watch it, okay?
Remember that the Stepford Wives was built in the time when women were considered to be housewives in the 1950s and 60s. When the 70s came along and the 60s came along, a lot of women found themselves being bored to tears, and many of them had to take tranquilizers. Yeah, there was such thing as tranquilizers in that time. But we see Kate Moss and her husband Walter, June and Walter, and we see them coming to the spot where they're throwing nickels and dimes to go over the bridge. It's a toll bridge, actually, basically, to get to where they need to go to. Oh, and Stepford, Connecticut is not real, but Connecticut is. The writer who wrote this wrote it because he thought it would be more specifically to understand. There was a time when female lib came along, and it stated that it allowed women to do whatever they wanted to do. Get jobs, get paid, and not basically stay home and take care of the husband or the kids, and make cookies and pies and dinners. In the 1940s, when World War II hit, a lot of the women went to work while the men went to the war. And then when the men came back, women went into the home once again. But some of them didn't want to do housework. So many of them did secretarial work or any other work they could find. And there is such thing as finishing schools, if you would like to know that one too. Yes, in the 1950s, finishing schools did exist to teach the woman about being a good mother and a good housewife, practically. This is Walter and Joe Everhart, and they're looking at the house that Mr. Walter purchased. We see her going in the house to basically, Walter said that it's nice that you can keep your front door open and nobody would go in there. Now, this day and age, somebody would actually go in your house without actually knocking or asking permission that if it's okay. We see the furniture guys
We're not allowed to drink anything on the job, lady. Except beer.
taking a heavy load, and when Joanna said, do you like some coffee? They said, no, we can rather drink beer. This is the first Stepper wife, and she is the one that she meets Walter, and Walter meets her for the first time. She brings him a casserole.
I'm Carol Vincent. I just thought this might come in handy. It's casserole.
That's really very nice of you. I'm Walter Everett. My wife's just inside. I know she'd like to talk to you.
Oh no, I know how much fun moving is. Look, if there's anything else you need, please call me. I just live over there. Oh, and tell your wife you keep that as long as you want.
And we see Miss Van Sant leave in her old-fashioned dress. Basically, it's a type that's called a quilt dress in the 1970s. That women actually were wearing long dresses in the 70s, which is so funny. If you ever look in advertisements, we see Walter walking the dog and looking back at his home and perhaps thinking about his wife and the luxury home that he has and the nice things he's got. Mr. Van Sant, his next door neighbor across the street, he meets. He's putting mail in his box, and Walter tells him about his wife, Van Sant's wife.
Looks as good as she looks, Ted.
You figure why Walter said that, then you'll know more about this
What do you
stuff.
suppose the people are like here?
Friendly. It was a good casserole she cooked.
Why did we move?
We both agreed it was best. I mean, best for the kids. It's best for you. You got more space here. You make yourself a dark room. It was time to move. Yeah, I got a terrific deal on this house. Because it's safe. Yeah, because I can pull my ass by real fine.
Those are all terrific reasons.
You ever make it in front of a log fire?
Not with you.
If you realize what she says, not with you, then you know that she had other boyfriends before she actually had Walter, before she actually married Walter. Here comes the kids. You'll notice the kids in the bus, and her kids. You'll notice that all the kids are wearing suits and ties and dresses and stuff. The term is, if you realize it, the kids look so much like the 50s style kids. Practically, that's the funny about it. And you look at the children of Walter, and they're dressed different from the other kids. Then you'll understand why these men. But what these men want. She's making her cup of coffee and she's reading the newspaper. Oh, the newspaper is where the welcome lady comes knocking at her door to welcome her to Stepford. Did you know that in real life they really did have the welcome lady? But they don't do that anymore. Practically not anymore. But they used to. In the book where she meets the welcome lady, she gives them coupons, detergent, and some other samples. This is the lady, the one that becomes the wagon lady. If you look at the woman that's writing down the information about Joanna, she looks more like a 1950 housewife with the hat and the outfit and the gloves.
What do you think you'll miss most about New York?
Noise.
We see Joanna looking through the window and we see the police officer going to pass by. We also see Joanna seeing the neighbor across the street. And she's cutting the limbs on the trees. She's dressed in her proper outfit when she's trimming trees or gardening, basically. We see Joanna with the pot roast pan that the Van Santa gave her that day that they came when they moved. Here's Mr. Van Sam and his wife. If you really look at it, it's more like an imitated scene with a husband and wife. And to her, she sees this and feels like something's not right. Like that he kisses her in a way of affection. And then he looks down and sees the deal and then leaves.
Well, I don't know who the guy is, but I'm assuming it's Mr. Hanson.
Well, what time was it?
Mid-morning. Wait for me.
Well, they should start early extended. The guy just walks up behind her and he put his hands on her boobs. I mean, no, it was like this. It was typical.
You can also be
I was trying to get the facts straight. It's my legal mind.
you're sexy, but stuff that's really done things to you.
Well, I'd like to christen every room in the house before I pay off the mortgage.
Just finish the dishes first. Tell me about your day.
Well, I didn't witness the softcore porno like you switched out like parents. I did,
He doesn't really tell her the truth what he really did see.
You seem like a bright bunch of guys.
Oh, and also see Game Boy 20, and he's got video games for you. Super Game Boy 20, so you can see his Game Boys also. If you realize, he asks him to that you wanted a cup of coffee, and when he does that, he asks him for coffee. If you realize, Sanka is actually coffee crystals that you pour in hot water.